Hello beautiful people, I'm RaishPhoenix and I hope you all are staying safe and healthy during this time. I know that I've obviously been gone for a while and I am going to do a quick life update and then I'll get into the main topic of this video. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back and joining me in another video. And if you're new here, welcome, hello, how are you? And let's get started. I decided after well, actually, I don't think I decided. I think it kind of naturally happened. After I had done Vlogmas in December and posted so many new videos, my intentions were to take a brief break and kind of just reset, recharge, because that was the most amount of videos I've ever put out in a month. And it was such a fulfilling challenge, but at the same time, I definitely experienced burnout. I didn't realize it was burnout at first. I thought it would just be giving myself some time to figure things out, what's next for me, what I want to do, and I would have jumped right back into everything. But it didn't work out that way, and I got hit with an extremely different energy in January. I didn't feel much motivation. I felt like I was definitely beating myself up a lot. I had intentions to have built a regular income doing what I love last year, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. I realize that now. I don't know, I guess I have this mentality sometimes where I feel like if I work very hard at something, it'll happen by a certain amount of time, but the truth is some things that you work towards, you can't really predict when it will happen, and just because it doesn't happen within the time that you wanted it to doesn't mean that it won't at all. You just have to keep being persistent, working towards it, and just find a way to celebrate the little wins that you have going to where you want to go. Also, my birthday was in February, so I'm really hanging on to that Batman balloon for dear life. Like, that's what that is, and then this other thing up here. So those are my birthday balloons from February, and then with March, that's when everything started happening with the pandemic going on, and that was definitely a time, of course, for all of us, that was very difficult to get through and to experience, and we're still experiencing it right now, of course, and I don't know, I'm so speechless on it. It's difficult because I definitely want to be, or at least try to be, like some type of voice of positivity through all this going on, but the truth of the matter is we're all being affected in some way, and the best thing I can do really is kind of share my advice with you guys of the things that I've done or have been doing and how it's helped me, and hope that it helps you guys in some way. I know that everybody's situation is different. I know that not everybody has the same resources available, or like everybody's situation is different. Like there's so many possibilities, I can't even possibly say it all at once, but I just want to share the things that I've been noticing has happened to me while being in quarantine, and how it's been affecting my mental health. And pretty much that's the main thing I want to focus on in this video. The things that are affecting my mental health and what I'm doing to improve it and maintain it, because that's definitely something difficult to do right now. The first thing I want to talk about is being aware of how much media you're consuming in terms of anything that is informative about what's going on right now. Of course, you want to do your best to be aware and conscious of the state of everything and, just stay up to date, but I think that there comes a point where it becomes extremely overwhelming. And for myself, I noticed that once things were building up, like in the very beginning, like one of the main things that kind of triggered a lot of my anxiety was when I was online and like I was on Twitter and I would scroll and I'd see a bunch of people posting pictures of how like the stores are basically empty and how there's nothing on the shelves for toilet paper, for cleaning supplies, and that brought me so much anxiety because I've spoken about this in the past, but 2 years ago I had gotten sick, and the reason it took me a long time to figure out why I got sick, but the reason why I had gotten sick was because I wasn't getting enough nutrients that I needed, and I thought that the foods that I was eating were the foods that I needed, but the problem is that I got extremely dehydrated and I still have like muscle issues, like my back hurts a lot sometimes because of what happened to me from that time. And seeing pictures of shelves that are empty, like just online, not even going to the store, just seeing pictures of shelves that are empty online, it started to bring a lot of anxiety back because I didn't know if I was going to be okay. Because when I had gotten sick, I really thought I wasn't gonna make it, like it was a very scary time for me. So I had flashbacks to that moment, and I I already had a lot of anxiety built up. And then one night, my brother, so this was before things got to lockdown. So my brother had went to work and he came home and he went back out to go to the store so he could change his clothes and be as clean as possible and safe as possible with everything. He went to the store and came back, and he was telling my mother about how empty the store was. And at this point I was sleeping, you know? And I don't know about you guys, but when I sleep and when I wake back up, depending on how deep in sleep I am, if I wake up to a noise, I I feel extremely disoriented. I'm definitely not grounded in thought, so it's very easy to scare me. Like I like my mind makes things worse than they really are. When my brother had gotten back home, I was still kind of in a daze. Like I heard a sound, but I didn't understand what I was hearing. And then out of nowhere, like I hear my mom kind of like shouting like, "Oh my gosh, there's nothing in the store." And like what was there, and like they're kind of going over like what was available and what wasn't. And when I woke up to that, like it scared me, it really scared me. It made me feel like things weren't going to work out. And the main reason I tell this story is because I feel like I had overconsumed a lot of things online. And there are ways in which, of course, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like you want to stay informed, but at the same time, if you overconsume, it could really be detrimental to your health, your mental health. So I feel like if I had taken the time to realize how consuming so much information from Twitter, and not even directly like news sources on Twitter, but just other people, if I had taken the time to kind of monitor how my mental health was and how it was making me feel, and to step back from that more and to kind of look at other accounts that aren't so heavy-handedly posting about what's going on, I think that I probably wouldn't have hit into like an anxiety period from when I had woken up to hearing my mom talk about what's going on. So my main takeaway from all that is to just pay attention to how much media you're consuming. Unfollow accounts that are toxic, and I mean in general that are toxic. I think that it's important to just stay conscious of how you feel, and it's okay to be like, I appreciate this person, I appreciate their content, I appreciate kind of their personality or whatever the case may be. But if they are posting things that are making me paranoid and are increasingly making it difficult for me to live my life and regulate it with this new change that we're all going through, then it's probably best to distance yourself from that person and unfollow them just for now and follow them later when things get better. But I think it's very important to maintain your mental health because you got to be kind to yourself, and I think it's important to be conscious of how things feel and to focus on the fact that it's difficult for you to take care of yourself or even be helpful to others if you're not in a good state, especially with what's going on. You got to make sure that you are just getting enough rest, able to get rest, able to get the nutrients from the foods that you eat. And I feel we've all known that situation where you get stressed out, extremely stressed out, and then you get sick because of it. And I think that's a clear example of why it's important to pay attention to how you feel, because if you neglect your mental health, your physical health is definitely going to follow, and it's going to start giving you signals on what you need to change. My next point is to create a moment for yourself to recharge. So this is something I started doing when I first quit my job about 2 years ago. I realized that I prefer to get up earlier because I live in a house that dominantly is noisy. Like there's always either somebody's on the phone, the TV's on, there's some type of noise that's happening somewhere, and I prefer quiet. Like I just love when it's quiet, but I don't really have that as much as I would like to. So I started this habit 2 years ago where I get up at 6 a.m. So I get up at 6 a.m. and I shower and I get breakfast, and I come back to my room, I look outside, I eat, I'm on social media, I do whatever I need to, but the point is I create time for myself to be by myself because I recharge in my own energy, and if I'm surrounded by other people or a lot of loud noises, it's very difficult for me to reset. So right now with quarantine, of course, everyone's home, and if you live in a household with a bunch of people, I'm sure it can be definitely a big adjustment for all of you guys to kind of figure out what time you're going to be in what part of the house, if you have a show that you're watching, but then there's only one TV or the kitchen's small or whatever the case may be. I'm sure that there are a lot of new routines that definitely follow with everything. And if you're in a big family, so I think it's important to create moments for yourself where you feel you're able to recharge and balance out your energy and kind of just get a breather and reset. The next thing kind of ties in with what I had mentioned earlier about when I had gotten sick. So it's very important, like I cannot stress this enough, it's very important to pay attention to the foods that you usually eat and making sure that you still get the same amount of nutrients through all of this, and to also pay attention to the nutrients that you need in your body. I feel like maybe there are people that are more on top of this if you go to the doctor regularly, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a regular doctor because I kind of come from a family that's like, home remedies, you're good, it's fine. And I only went to the doctor when I was much younger, and I never really took the time to find a regular doctor, and I'm still, this year I was supposed to get on top of that, but yeah. So I feel like if you have a regular doctor, then you're probably on top of knowing what type of vitamins or nutrients that your body particularly needs to make sure that you're okay and functioning to the best of your ability. For me right now, I know that I definitely need to make sure I'm getting enough electrolytes. I feel like electrolytes aren't talked about enough because most of the time when people say stay hydrated, I feel like it's usually directed towards water, but you need electrolytes so that you're able to move and it helps your muscles. So that's going to be potassium, magnesium. See, I even have this. So that's going to be So there's going to be potassium, magnesium, sodium. Zinc will help with your muscles repairing. Just pay attention to what you're eating and making sure, like if you need iron, like if you're anemic, making sure you get your iron for the day, making sure that you're aware of where you can get these nutrients, like what is it, avocado has a bunch of electrolytes in it, a banana, an apple, a kiwi. With zinc, I know that zinc I think is in some I think it's in almonds, or I'm forgetting right now. But pretty much make sure that you're getting what you need. And then also with protein for your muscles, you can also get that from beans if you can't get meat at the store. I know meat is definitely something that has been difficult for when my family leaves to get. So just looking for alternatives, I think that's very important, and also just making sure you're getting regular meals throughout the day. I remember I saw on Twitter a while back, like somebody tweeted do you guys really eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or is that like a myth? And I was like, a myth? Like, if I don't get those foods, I'm gonna waste off. Like, I need to make sure I'm getting my regular meals. So, um, another thing, like to add on to that point, is with it being lighter when it gets later, that's been throwing me off because I'm used to the sun usually setting around 3 or 4. So usually when the sun goes down, I'm like, okay, it's time to eat. But now the sun's going down for like around 8 p.m. and I try to get into bed by like 9, 10, 11-ish. So by the time the sun goes down, I'm like, oh, time to eat. But then I get really tired and I look at the clock and I'm like, oh, damn, like, it's time for me to go to bed. So make sure that you're paying attention to what time it is, you're getting your meals, and like just take care of yourself, you know? Just make sure you're getting the nutrients you need, pay attention to the foods you're eating, what type of vitamins are in there or minerals, and do the best you can to stay on top of that, because I think that's the best thing you can do for your body right now, to make sure you get those things. Especially because one of the things I've noticed is that when I wasn't getting those nutrients, that was another thing that affected my anxiety. I feel like I was already paranoid about if I would be able to get those foods, because when my family leaves, I give them a list, so it's less of us going to the store. And it's kind of always been that dynamic. But I'm grateful to them to be able to get the food that they do. And sometimes I, of course, have to wait until they are able to go to the store, depending on who's working from home. So I noticed that on top of having muscular aches because I wasn't getting enough electrolytes, my anxiety was starting to build, and I definitely got to a point where I was so frustrated that I just had to sit in my bed and cry because I didn't know what I could do. And I feel like that's another thing about this, is just the breaking of your normal routine. It's like there's a part of me that's so used to them going to the store at a certain time that I felt like I had to wait for them to go to the store to be able to get, like, I don't know, like some type of electrolyte drink. And I had to think to myself, okay, like, what are my other options? Like, after crying it out and being so paranoid, excuse me, I thought of my other options, and I was like, okay, like, let's try Amazon. Let's see if we can order something, if we're able to get it with the money we have. And luckily I was able to get some body armor, and it was delivered a day earlier than expected. And it was such a blessing because it was definitely on a day that I really needed it, because the pain and it's mostly discomfort. I feel like discomfort more so from just feeling like my muscles are tight, that was starting to get to me. And I was able to take care of myself, and then once I got those foods, I felt such a weight lifted. So I definitely say the lack of not getting the nutrients I needed played a part in my mental health. Definitely pay attention to those things. Another big part is taking it one day at a time. There have been days where I am perfectly fine. I am working on a watercolor piece, I'm listening to Janae Aiko, I'm looking outside, and I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. And then the next day I have anxiety. I literally feel like I can't breathe. I had to put an lavender diffuser on to calm me down. I have to lay down with my crystals. I have to just stay in my bed and cover up. Like, it has been so spontaneous how I feel, and I think the best thing you can do is be on your side when that happens. Like, I'm sure I mentioned it earlier, it's like, with so much going on, you really need to take care of yourself. You really need to pay attention to what you're feeling and adjust your day accordingly. So if you need, of course, this is one of those things where it's very difficult depending on what you do, like depending on work, because of course I know there are people that still leave for work, there are people who have certain hours they have to work, and I know that makes it very difficult. But please, please, please find the time to take care of yourself and make sure that you are maintaining your mental health. Also, I'm not sure if you guys know yet, but PlayStation Network has 2 games available right now for free. So Uncharted and Journey are available, I think, until maybe the first week of May, or maybe the second week. I'm not sure. I'm sure if you go on the PlayStation Network, it'll show you like what dates it's available for. But I think that that is such a blessing. You know, I'm so glad that they did that because I downloaded Journey and it's such a beautiful game. There's no words. It's just it is what it sounds like. It's a journey. It has beautiful music. The colors are beautiful, and it was kind of interesting because I'm like, while I was playing it, I was just like, how do you tell a story and kind of like evoke an emotion without using words? Like, I know it's possible, but I was just like, how are they gonna do this? And they did it. And I definitely, like, I teared up at the end of the game. It was emotional because it was also helping with my anxiety. And I think one of the most beautiful things is that I didn't realize that whenever there was a second person on the screen with me, I thought it was like, what is it called, like a CPU or a computer generated like character from the game. It was an actual player. And I laugh at that because when I was playing the game, whenever somebody else would appear, I would get super happy with my character, so I'd run around them a little bit and then I'd keep moving forward on the journey. So to everybody that I interacted with, that was pretty sweet because now I'm thinking about the characteristics of those players and like how they were with me when they were playing. So it was so nice to, you know, cross paths with people that you don't even know, but to be able on to be able to go on a journey and to be there together. And it, I don't know, it's so interesting because like I said, I've been having a lot of anxiety lately. It's back and forth, and it helps to not be alone. So definitely check out those games if you haven't already, and if you have a PlayStation game console. So definitely with being quarantined, if you happen to be in a household with people that may be very toxic and not good for your mental health, it's very difficult. It's difficult, you know? It is what it is, and I think the most upsetting thing for me before all of this has always been seeing somebody make toxic decisions in their life consistently, but blaming everybody else for it, or taking their anger out on other people with the things that they say that aren't so nice. So my main point in bringing this up is to make yourself less accessible to people who are toxic, whether it may be, like I said before, online, or if it may be through phone calls, or if it may be through texting, whatever it may be. It's definitely important to just make yourself less accessible to those people because it's not worth it. You know, I can only imagine what other people are going through, but it's very difficult to go through this already and to be surrounded with people who are constantly projecting. What I'm talking about specifically is when you have resources or you haven't tried other resources when it comes to trying to obtain certain things like food, and to hear them say, you know, I think things are gonna get really bad for all of us. And to consistently say that. And then talk to other people about that. And then it's like you didn't try outside of the box. You didn't do something different from what you usually do. And it's like, I get if you don't feel okay. Like, that's fine. It's okay that you don't feel okay. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you don't know if things are going to work out. But don't come to me and tell me that I'm not going to be able to be okay because of what you're going through. You know, like that. Like, I don't know if I'm doing a very clear or good way of explaining this, but this has been like my main issue with this is being exposed to people who expect the worst, only see the worst, and don't try anything outside of the box, but then also project how they feel onto others because of lack in some type of category, whether it's lack in of obtaining things, lack of others running to them to support them through the way they feel. Like, it's draining, it's exhausting. It's something that I can't handle. I think that's the main thing that I'm realizing, because I do have an instinct to help others. I do have an instinct to be there for others. But I was actually watching this video with Harush, a makeup artist, and she was talking about when it comes to helping people, you're supposed to help. Like, this analogy she gave is, if you have a cup and it's overflowing, you give to people what's overflowing from it. You don't have a cup that's half full and pour some to each person, because if you do that, you'll have nothing left, and you have to make sure that you're okay first. So you have to give to others when your cup is overflowing. And for a long time in my life, I put a lot of, and I definitely will say trauma kind of made me feel like I had to do this in order to be a worthy person of living or something. I don't know. But I definitely made my purpose into helping people, but it was difficult when I didn't realize that I'm not capable of helping people. Sometimes it may be because they don't want to be helped, but at the same time they complain to you about their problems, and it's ironic because when you give them a possible solution or to try something, they reject it. They're like, no, that's not what I want. But it's like, if that's not what you want, why do you keep coming to me with your issues? Like, why are you exhausting me? Like, you're draining my energy. So I think it's easy for all of us to know who those people are in our life, if we do have those people. And hopefully, if it isn't, I hope that you guys are aware of those people who are toxic and who drain your energy and who feel like they're always taking something from you, even if it's not direct, whether it may be your energy, like you feel exhausted after talking to people. Like, I think the main point I'm trying to get across is, if you feel exhausted, if you feel sad, if you feel bad after talking to someone and you are perfectly fine, and then after interacting with that person, they've made you lose faith, or they've made you feel like you're not going to be okay, and it's specifically because of something they're projecting onto you, I think it's important to make yourself less accessible to that person. And I think this is something that's difficult to do at first when they may be a loved one. So it's important to create that distance, create those boundaries, and make sure that, you know, it's okay to check in. Like, it's okay to every now and then, like, make sure they're doing okay. But if you feel that someone is constantly draining your energy or asking you of your time because they just want to project onto you and make you feel worse, and you know you can't handle it, do that for yourself and create distance between you and that person if you can, or just find ways to create a moment of peace for yourself. Like, I know this is definitely really difficult during quarantine, and I don't know, I'm just thinking of like a way to be broad but also specific to the type of energy I'm referring to. But I feel like if you're in this situation, you already know what I'm referring to, and, you know, like I said, just take care of yourself. Like, that's the main point of this video. Like, take care of yourself, make sure you're doing what you need to do to be consistent, because like I said, like, a lot of routines are definitely changing, and regardless of if it may be being able to retrieve things when you go to the store, or if it may be quarantined, or if it may be working from home, or if it may be the foods that you usually eat on a regular basis, or if it may be, like, there's so many things. But definitely make sure you're staying as conscious as possible of how you feel, taking it day by day, and don't be too hard on yourself with everything going on. Like, be on your side no matter what, because we're all going through so many things that it's difficult for people who are even usually there for you to be there for you, because they're going through this too. You know, I think that's the biggest thing, to know, that it's like, we're all affected by this, and, you know, do the best you can to be there for those that you can, but also voice if you're not doing well. You know, reach out to people if you aren't in a good headspace and they make you feel safe. Like, you have somebody in your life who makes you feel safe. Even for me, going on Twitch lately has been such a blessing, you know, being in chats with people that make me feel seen, being around people that have good energy, that are positive, that make me laugh. Like, that has definitely been such a big blessing for me. So, you know, definitely do what you can to make sure that you find little moments, like just little moments every day to make sure you're okay. So from here, future videos are definitely going to be more sporadic. I would like to do a video per week. The way things used to be is that I like to do uploads on Tuesday and Thursday, so give you guys 2 videos per week. But of course, with everything going on, I need to take care of my mental health. You know, that's the main thing that I need to focus on, and I just don't want to, I don't know, it's a very difficult thing for me to do because my intentions are to maintain a consistent uploading schedule, but I don't know if that's realistic for me right now. And I really, like, one of the things that I've been enjoying the most is just, like I said, taking it day by day. And I've been working on some watercolor pieces, so you guys are going to see some time-lapse coming soon. And I want to start doing my makeup again, so there's definitely going to be an increase on creative content. And I don't think I'm going to be doing as much talking videos like this, because another thing that I've been experiencing in life lately is last year I felt like I had so much information. Like, I feel like the universe was just downloading so much information, and I was getting a better understanding of the things that either serve me or don't serve me in life, what I have to unlearn. And then this year hit, and from January I felt like I knew nothing. I felt like I didn't know, like, I felt like I knew what I wanted out of life, but I didn't know how to go about it. I felt like I didn't know how to achieve anything that I wanted. That is pertaining to, like, how to get a regular job but also maintain building my brand, how to save up enough money to be able to move out and get an apartment. Like, there's so many things that I want to work towards that I just didn't know how to do, and it became extremely overwhelming. Of course, I still have these moments of realization, but not to the extent that I felt I did last year, which is why I'm definitely going to slow down on the talking videos. I'll share things as I go through it, because I definitely want this to be a journey. You know, one day, years from now, I'll be able to look back at this video and be like, damn, those are thoughts I was having. And like, it's crazy how I couldn't see where I was heading, but now that I'm here, like, it's great to know that I'm here. So I like sharing these videos because I feel, I don't know, I definitely feel more connected to you guys, and I feel connected to, I feel like I don't know a lot of similar energies in my life, like where I live, you know, but it's like there are a lot of similar energies like around the world and stuff like that. So I like connecting with you guys and being able to do that. But like I said, I don't know right now. I don't know anything right now, and I'm just focusing on being creative. So there's definitely, like I said, more art and more makeup videos coming soon. And yeah, I'm gonna try to maybe do 1 video per week, or maybe 1 video every other week. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know, guys. But I just want to let you guys know that, like, I'm trying to make my way back into YouTube now. I'm trying to have a consistent, inconsistent upload schedule. So yeah, bear with me. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye, guys.